got clickbaited. But anyway, if you're not, stick around, or if you are, stick around. A lot of fun to be had. It's not a fireball night, but it's not going to be far from that. So we've got our new reels, to me, that are actually old reels that I got back from Charles, those of you that haven't followed along. But I just got back earlier today, did that little live video showing these reels as I got them from Charles from being used throughout the season. He went through his stuff. We did his little lineup, but he hadn't really went through his stuff ready to fish for next season. So these things were a little filthy, and now I've switched some stuff around. So we're going to jump into that, but real quick, and I'll tell you what I did. Whoa, where are you guys going? Let me move them out of the way, because I want to talk about our Shimanos real quick before we talk about our Steez reels. So this does fit on the Bantam. If you guys remember, when I originally had the Calcutta Conquest, I ordered that drag star off AliExpress. Let me let it focus. Come on. I think they're still on there. I think they're only 20 bucks. And it is metal, aluminum. It's got the little red insert with the clip like the old school ones, to where the clicking part is built in. So when you take this handle and this pops out, you don't have to worry about that plate and the spring deal like what the 13 fishings are, which I think, unfortunately, what Shimano's gone to, and a lot of the reels are coming with plastic stars. So anyway, you could jump on AliExpress if you like that style. Try to get to focus here. It's just a straight 6-point with a little cutout here and there. It's not swept, the star itself. It's straight on the backside with a little cut in order, so it does like slide right by the stock or even aftermarket handles. So it seems to work real well. So it fits on the Calcutta Conquest, the 17 for sure. I don't know about the new one that's coming out. Fits on this Bantam. It's supposed to fit on quite a few. No drag clicker yet. That thing's still on its way from AliExpress. So then let's talk about this. The new one's coming out. Here is the 17 model. I just got back from Charles. I went ahead and put the in case you guys don't know, you can go to AliExpress. Also, I believe you can still get these. The chameleon spool was $54. I'm not sure what it'd be now. It comes with extra little pin you have to put in there. So we put that in. Added, as you guys know, I'm trying to get away from the single lifestyle on the knobs and the handle, from going away from just one. So I stuck it on the stock. I think it gives it just like, the gold's not 100% matching as what's already in on the inside of the stock handle on the knob caps, but I think that, I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. I think it looks pretty good. So this is probably going to be kept by me. I haven't decided 100% for sure yet, and put it on the Rainy Stream, my most expensive rod I've ever bought off AliExpress. $200 for the Rainy Stream. Awesome rod. This looks awesome and works. Like, it's a complete combo that works very well. So let's talk about this real quick, and then we're going to compare it to this and the Zillion. Then we're going to go on to the lingual and the variants. So I still haven't figured out on the newer reel that's coming out if it is this high up of a difference. If this side is a whole size bigger than the left side, because from my understanding, this reel, the original 50 Calcutta Conquests were a 50 size all the way across, and then they came out with the newer versions, and they basically were 100 size on the right. They're a size up. So if you got a this BFS, it's basically 100 on this side of 50 here. If you get the 200, I think it's a 200 here, but it went down to 100 here. So they basically made their whole lineup easier to palm, is I think they made that switch. So I'm not sure what the newer ones coming out, what they did, what they've done. But they also, and I wasn't even paying attention, Charles is the one that brought me to this thing. He's like, oh yeah, the XG. I'm like, oh, no, this one's not XG. They don't make an XG in the old one. He said they do the new one. I said, oh yeah, that is right. Because in the old 17 model, that is what you got, the HG. I don't think they made any other gears, or did they have one that was even lower? But I think it was just that. But I think the new one, and I haven't read up completely on it, is definitely an XG. I remember seeing that in the footage. But I'm trying to figure out if it is, what did they do? I haven't really seen a bunch of, I haven't seen a video yet. If you guys have, you all, feel free to share that with me. Where they're actually comparing the old one to the new one side by side and what the shape, what changed. I know this looks different. The line guide on the new one is definitely like gold. So I'm guessing it's that titanium nitride coated instead of whatever that is, ceramic coated whatever, or just a ceramic insert. And it definitely is going to have the MGL3 spool, which, like the Aldebaran 22, it's definitely going to outperform this reel. I have no doubt in my mind it'll outperform it on casting. Maybe not as much once you put this chameleon spool in. It's going to be quieter, smoother on casting, but I don't think, and that's what we're going to jump in on these reels, I do not think they can do anything possibly. It is not humanly possible to get this thing any smoother on the retrieve. Because I was comparing this one, when I have just these, your average, I don't care what it is, Daiwa, Shimano, I say average, but you're basically top of the line, low profile, even though they all have these micro module gears and they have the hyperdrive, right? When you spin these and compare it to this reel anyway, and now it could have something slightly to do with these are the high speeds XG, and the Zillion is the 8.5 to 1 extra high, and this is only HG. But I'm telling you right now, once they're side by side, there is no comparison. There's like nothing there. It's so free. It's the best way I can explain it, as you're turning that knob, it almost feels like it's going to fall off the reel because there's nothing there. It feels like something falling out of your hand. That is just how free the gears are on, and I guess it's all these. This is only one I've actually held and done that to, but I've heard several people commenting about how smooth, and I think it's across the lineup. Now, it's been so long since I've had my, I had several Daiwa monoblocks, but or the whatever they call there, but then the monoblock from Megabass, I've had, did I have two of those? I don't know. I have 4 or 5 different Daiwa or Megabass round reels back in the day when I had what I remember right anyway, the gold Calcutta Conquest. I had the 50 and the 50S, okay? I don't remember ever commenting on how they felt this smooth. This is the smoothest reel I've ever felt. As far as, now I hear something, but I think that's all in the gearing and the spool bearings and stuff in here. You don't feel no gear, you don't feel any resistance. All you're feeling is the weight of that handle, literally. And then what we're retrieving also. So you kind of forget how awesome this is until you pick it up and you're like, wow, this reel does. It's just, it definitely has it, right? Now, comparing it, I like everything about that new one. I saw the pics, I'm like, yeah, I may get the new one, right? And I knew I was getting this one back from Charles. It's like, I may, just sell this one and get the new one, or do whatever, or just not worry about having a round reel. The only downside, and it may be once you see it in person, it may look better, but I feel that this side plate looks better than the new one. I think it gives this an older, more traditional look, because I think all the gold ones and all had the double or maybe even more. But it just got one big line on the new reel, which kind of makes it look more modernized, I guess, which this one looks, in my mind, looked a little more modernized. It's basically like the new Camaro Mustangs when they first started trying to give that retro look to look like the old stuff. It's kind of like what that newer version, to me anyway, which it looks good, but I think, honestly, from this angle, that still looks better than the new one. That's the only thing I see different that I don't like the better about the new one so far from what I've seen. So anyway, and that's just my thoughts, my opinions. I don't know if I like that drag star, but that's the stock one. So I don't know if I would want to try to buy one more, because I'm going to leave that on that. I like that drag star on the Bantam. So I'm going to do one more comparison here. No comparison, or, you know, it's not even, they're in a whole different league from the smoothness of the retrieve on whatever they've done on these round reels. But let's look at this line guide. Now, I know they fixed it, but did they even really fix it as good as they could have on the new Bantam? The 22 Bantam, I still feel they could have even went out further. I don't think they went far enough, because this is a small little, it looks like it may be fairly long, but it is not that long. This reel is not, it is not that big of a reel. And I would swear, by looking at these, even if they push it, I imagine where it's at now, probably lucky to be as far out as this one is, which is still kind of close. But yeah, once you get this small of a reel, that line guide needs to be pushed out as far as you can. And I would say that even the, you know, that Daiwa has to watch it. They're kind of making that T-wing smaller, and as they make more compact reels, they, you know, compact, but you may still need to make your reels fairly long enough, or push that out far enough to where it's not going to, you know, slow your casting down. Or really what it'll do is it'll let you, if like say you run it all the way to one side and you cast the angle from there to there, you need it stretched out as far as you can in order to just relieve that pressure, right? Okay, now let's get these out of the way. I think that's all I had. I'm trying to think if I had anything else I want to talk about. The one I just got, or the... Oh, I will say this. If you want to get... So the Star Drag you can get right off AliExpress, 20 bucks. Just put Shimano Star Drag, and I'm pretty sure that one pops up, and it's got like a red insert, plastic insert inside of it, and you'll see it. You can't miss it. Big 6-point. It's all by itself. It's listed. Most other aftermarket drag stars, because I don't know if that's factory or what that is, where it came from, but most aftermarket ones give you color options and all this and that. That one's by itself. But then on these knobs, if you guys want these knobs for Shimano's, for sure anyway, they'll fit Daiwa too, but they're a little more. You got to add an extra bearing, so then you go from 12 to 14 bearings, right? You up your bearing count. It's awesome. But no, with the Shimano, with this one anyway, with this reel, it already came with 2 bearings and a little bitty like copper goldish colored spacer, very thin, and I put those exactly right back in, and this one's got a little wiggle and this one is tight. So I could have technically find a very thin shim or take that other one out and put a little bit thicker, but so basically if you track down those knobs on AliExpress, they'll fit right on your Shimano handles. And they come in different colors, black, I want to say they call it smoke maybe, or black or gray, gold, red, purple even. I found blue ones also. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think everybody is going to like the new BFS reel that's coming out. I don't know if it's a excuse, especially if you've already invested in an aftermarket spool and you like the way that thing casts. I don't know if it's like for sure, but I guarantee you, I already like it way better than the Aldebaran 22. I knew I wouldn't like that reel right off the bat. I bought it anyway, didn't like it, traded it to Brute Tank. So let's jump to the Lingles. This is what you guys all know, Lingle or Linglong. There's almost what they come like. Focus. Let me move my hand. Let's move these reels out of the way. Let's focus the spotlight on that reel. So this reel is still, it's got several different variations now, right? There's, if you search on AliExpress, you look up Crony, and you'll find a pinkish colored one, a greenish one. But this lingle, in my opinion, looks nice. It comes with a gold drag star, but it's smaller. I actually have one in here somewhere that I de-anodized. So that's all I've changed on this from being stock. At some point I de-anodized this one back when I owned them all at one point. But it's a lot smaller. And I like the shape. If that one would have been as long as this, I just ended at the point where they're easier for me to reach up and adjust the drag with them longer ones. I'm not worried about bending them or getting, they don't seem to get in my way. So the stock lingle looks very good. Works very good. I cleaned them up. I didn't tear into them or anything. They're so free right now. And these aren't they're free, but these aren't, I can't say I can feel the gears, but you feel more with these, right? They're not aluminum or magnesium bodied, so they're carbon, and they're good quality, but they're not built to the quality of Daiwa or Shimano. They're just not. Are they like a Luz or Abu Garcia? They're probably not far from those, but I don't know if I'd call them there. But they seem to be lasting so far. If you saw how well used these were, I got them back from Charles, and I used them for a while before we did some trading, and he used them pretty much off and on throughout the season. I got them back, just cleaned mainly on the outside and changed some stuff around from how he had it. He had a lot of red on this one. The insides, I need to tear these reels apart, do a full cleaning, especially around in here. They honestly do need a good complete teardown. They really didn't come with enough oil right off the get-go. So that's a stock one, and we're not going full blingle yet. We're going to go with, I guess, I've heard it called murdered out, blacked out. I call it sometimes on the Dark Wolf Ultra, it's had all the life sucked out of it. But then this guy. This one is just what happens when you have the remains from making the Joker, basically, and so you end up with the almost all black stuff. Now there is green in there. I just kind of sharpied it. I don't know if you can even see it on camera. In person you can make out a spot here and there. I just want to see what it looked like, see if I want to make that permanent. And I think I like this reel. I think that reel looks very good now. I'm tempted to just do away with all the white too, but I guess it, just showing you what it is kind of thing is okay. But this reel, it's got a few scratches. Charles is a little rougher on the stuff than I am, but if you really look, you can see somewhere there's a little scratch right there. But I'll be honest, I'm looking at these reels, and Charles he's not as easy. He's not hard on his stuff, but he's not as easy as I am. And I can tell you right now, this finish on these reels is tougher than what I think Shimano and Daiwa have on their reels. I will say that much. Because this finish they use here, I'm looking on this one, and I looked on the Joker, and I don't see like anywhere or any scratches. There's one spot. I will show you one spot, and I think it got something on it. Right down there, there's a spot on this reel, and I don't know what Charles did. Charles did that. But like this has a full-on season of use and everything else, and it looks good. I cleaned it up. Looks good. Here is not even well, I guess you could call I'd put a season on this, and I have used this one probably harder than I do a lot. But if you look at these seams from my hand, like you can start to see it's getting basically darker silver look because it's fading to where the black is almost starting to come through. Just from handling it, really. It's got a couple little dings. I don't even know how they popped up there, but that paint job, in my opinion, is not as good as these cheap 70. They were 75. That's the only downside now. You can still find these reels. You can't find this. I don't think you could build this anymore. That is a lot of parts. It's the lingle framing, and I guess I should have showed you guys that for those that you don't know. If you really look, it looks like a CI4, or it looks more like the Zion on the Dragstar or Daiwa. It does have a marbly textured look on the whole frame. Yeah, you can probably see it real good there. The whole frame on the Lingles has that marbly textured look. I think, I'll be honest, I think they're definitely copied the Steez. I think these look better than the Steez reels. They're definitely not the quality of the Steez. But as far as looks department, with the with in the finish of it so far, and then like this one, it's blacked out, but if you look, there is a kind of a two-tone. So it's got the lingual frame on the Silver Fox other parts. So the main frame has that marbly stuff, and then it's like it's a very, I don't even know if it's black. It's so dark of a gray though it looks black. And the reel, it looks real good together. Like all those things go together. And that's actually the handle off of any of your, I think the Dark Wolf Ultra is what that handle's off of. I have no idea if I'll fish it with these on there, but man, that thing it looks very sweet. It looks good on right here, and then it looks good in person also. That one surprised me. Now it did have, the reel I'm getting ready to show you, it did have a gold insert in here. And back before I traded these to Charles, I switched that out and put it on this reel. So let's talk about this reel. Now, first of all, let's talk about something that is just horribly nasty. Probably looks okay, and they don't look bad in person, but a horrible handle. This handle is horrible. It's a heavy tank. These are tight. There's no way to completely take them off. It's the weirdest thing. I can unscrew this cap and I can slide this piece off and leave the gold piece, but they're, the cheap riveted on stuff. There's no way, there's no bearings in there, there's no way to change anything up. I guess their attempt to make it look like carbon fiber, and I bought this a while back for like 10 or 12 bucks or something off AliExpress. So if you come across those and you think, oh, those are cool looking, even though they're heavier than heck, and I don't know, not a good purchase on my part, but for now, I don't have the handle I want to put on this, so it looks good. But this reel is also a good-looking working reel also. I think it doesn't need as much red as what I have on it, but it doesn't look bad. So I'm going to show you all these, and I'm going to tell you about the differences in them. Now, this is the only one I believe that you could get, and it's still for sale on AliExpress, MK9. You'll see a lot of them, they're the same color, come from the same company, but they're shaped a little different. They're basically the frame of the Cast King Zephyr with a red spool and a silver paint job. They're a little different. But the MK9 is the only 8-to-1 ratio, and it's got brass gears, and it's a heavy, and now it's like a heavy tank with all that aluminum I put on it. Just for video purposes. It's definitely, I will not be out fishing that, I don't think, like looking like that. But it doesn't look bad. So now, let's get to the last one, and then I'll tell you real quick about the differences, then we're going to wrap this video up. So, here is the reel that I started out to build because I had that, TD Ito vibe. Once I saw this reel come out in the Silver Fox, it had, for whatever reason, it was black and green, and they called it Silver Fox. But I knew it was a lingual variant and that the stuff would interchange, so that's what I did to make this. And then I think I ended up with a very good, basically leftover parts reel that is an awesome reel. I think it may be, they're all, I think they all feel too smooth just because they need grease. But this may be the one that needs the grease the most, because that reel is crazy free. And I think it was the dirtiest. I think it's the one Charles has just used the most. So it's a little noisy, but I think once I tear into it, clean it up, grease it, I don't think you'll have any issues with it because I don't feel the gears. And it's crazy free. It's the freest of this group, and it's probably freer than my Daiwa or the Shimano. It's close to as free as the Calcutta Conquest, which tells me it's definitely probably getting dry. This is probably the noisiest of the bunch. It's probably because of speed cranking with that little crazy handle. So that is simply a different drag star, handle assembly, and then the frame off of that other reel. That is what I did to change that. Hello, I never did say hello to Frank. Frank, are you impressed, or are you like, dude, what are you doing to your reels? And hello, Gus. I think this reel would look good with just if I went back to the, put a gold drag star on it like this one. It looked good either way. I originally had a gold, and then I had, but I like it now because it has pretty much the colors that the TD Ito had, and it looks cool, and they're good working reels. Now let me explain this first. I didn't plan on ever making a single lifestyle handle that was that short. What this was originally, if you guys remember right, on that reel, you can buy the handle off AliExpress that comes with, like, there's just a hole cut out on each side before you get to the where the knob goes. And I was like, well, that'd be simple because you can buy the inserts also anywhere, but AliExpress carries those. I was going to try to find one to show you guys what I'm talking about. Oh my God, I got parts strung everywhere. Anyway, you can buy the handle assembly that bolts in with the on the other side. So that's what I did with this one. I cut down just one side to that hole, and I put a knob on it. If you remember right, I had the full, which was I think 85 or maybe 90. So that is a very short distance. I'm not sure if I can figure out a way to measure it here real quick just to give you a rough idea that your eyes aren't deceiving you. That thing is like 35 maybe. It was probably roughly, if it was a full length, it would probably be like a 74 millimeter, something like that. So very short. And I know I've gotten into debates over this on the speed of a reel. You can't change the speed of a reel, and the handle doesn't change the speed of the reel. I'm like, well, how can you say it gives you more power, but it doesn't change the speed? Because anytime you change that, you don't change the internal gearing, but anytime you change this, you're the motor of what's turning everything. Well, you change the gearing basically on how much torque you give yourself or how fast you can reel. There's no doubt in my mind I can reel in something faster on a 7-to-1 reel with this than I can a 7-to-1 reel with, with 34 millimeter spool with, say, a 110 Hogtech handle, right? I'm going to be out here, and just the motion of me turning, there's no way I can physically turn it as fast as what I can set and do that. So therefore, if you're, you can utilize the length of handles for either creating torque and power or generating more speed. Since I don't, these are technically little mini winches, but I use it to, I try to pull and then kind of reel down to the fish if I've got one that I feel like it, it's a battle kind of deal. Yeah, you can with most reels nowadays. You can still, they got the huge gears and the smaller gears, so they tend to be a, fairly powerful reels. So this one, and if you guys are wondering, like, what happened to all your single lifestyle? Why is that the only one? If you don't know, I'm trying to go away from that, but this reel is going to stay just like that. I'm not a collector. I've mentioned that several times, but I think that reel, I'm not going to trade it to Charles anymore. And I'm not going to lie, this reel, I've seen Charles, he's been using it. And I'm looking at it, I cleaned it up. I need to tear it apart and lube it all the way also, but I don't see, like, I'm talking even like little scratches or something. It just looks good. So does that one. Other than there's a scratch I can see on this one, the paint itself, that coating, whatever they've got over the paint. And if you notice, all of the, wherever it says something, is still there. It may be wearing a little bit, but it's going to hold those. That's one thing about the Acuras. You can almost just sit and rub that off with your finger. You don't have to put nothing on. I can just sit there and rub it off on a couple of them I did. I was like, oh, it's already coming off. So I think these are very good reels. I just wish they would get back down to what they were when we first started buying them. These were, I want to say I gave 75 or 79 for the first one, which I think was this one. And then when I bought the second one, And the reason I know because I switched to the second one, I didn't, and I know that's how anal I get about stuff. The front nose piece on the second one just didn't look as cool as the nose piece on the original one. Just the way the marbling was, you could just see it. It looked a little, it didn't look as good. Kind of like my Zillions. I got the first Zillion and I got the second Zillion, and it just, something wasn't quite as smooth as the very first one. So I like put bearings in the second one and didn't on the first one, and now they feel the same. So I don't know what that's all about. So anyway, back to price. They were cheaper. Now you can still go on there right now, and then I'll tell you about the braking system. And you can get what looks to be just like this reel with the gold spool, and it's $73. The problem is, the only one person I've seen comment said they didn't get the right reel, and you definitely get a different braking system. You get the braking system that is like these other two, the variants, which that's not a bad thing, and I'll talk about that in a second too. So if you guys don't know about these, the braking system on when these Lingles first came out, and then I will tell you, I know I shouldn't even mention him, right? We're not talking about Shimano's, but the Real Test, he's done a couple videos on this along with me when they first came out, and there's a few other YouTubers. But it's basically, if you guys remember right, the GH100 was the first one, and then PW100, or no, wait, not the PW100. Several other reels started popping up on the market copying this. So the KR Phantom, which is basically just a painted up GH100. So that's what lets this reel be a very good working reel. It's not as good as Dark Wolf Ultra. It's not, it's for the very low, to get way down there. But in my opinion, it is definitely better than the, in the test I was doing when I was doing little shootout things. It's kind of like right there with the Clamber. It was better than Cast King Zephyr. It beat the PW100. So, I mean, it's good. It's right there. You can go do pretty much any kind of BFS you want to with this. And this is the same way. The one that's out there now for $73 comes with what I consider the traditional like Abu Garcia style, like these reels. So I'm going to show you that one. And you're like, well, that sucks. Why they even do that? Well, they do it because it's real simple when you do this. And I added one little bitty 0.5 millimeter. Charles had big thick ones in there, and you had to have the brakes turned way down. I added just one thin one just to see if I could help these brakes. It's a test I'm going to do. But then with this one, you get the traditional style and a shallow spool, but you also get a deep spool. Charles, you forgot to give me the deep spool. I think it took me like a month or two to get it to him, and then I forgot to get it from him. So I think you have it, Charles. I know I don't have it. But I plan on using it with the shallow anyway. So then it gives you the kind of availability like you can with the Acura and the Micro Monster. You can go very, lighter line, less of it to worry about, and overall lighter baits. But then you have a deep spool where with these reels you could actually, just fill it with, 15 in theory, 20 or whatever. Go fishing with the regular one. Now what I found was I didn't like the way it cast with the deep spool full of line, even braid, like keeping it kind of light. There was some issue with it. So I'm going to try to work on that more. It does work, kind of like the Arise. So anyway, those videos are coming out so you guys can see what I traded Charles for all this stuff back, basically, and I cleaned it up. But leave in the comments before I get out of here, or comment right now, or if you're watching this video a year from now, comment what you guys think. If you watched the other video where I basically showed me taking them out of their boxes they came in, because me and Charles nowadays keep all our boxes. That's what Charles is talking to me about. He goes, I never kept my boxes until I started hanging out with you again. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's a good thing to keep them. Because Charles, until now, he has, I'm not going to tell the amount, wait for the video to see how many rod and reel combos he has like put together, lined, ready to fish. It's not 100% every, fishing thing he owns, but how many he has put together ready to fish, BFS and regular. And Charles does not really bass fish with anything over a medium action, I will tell you that. He's got maybe one, maybe two that you could consider almost medium heavy, but Charles likes to enjoy the fight of the fish, right, Charles? So anyway, This one also has that same braking system. I do have the deep spool for it. I've got the shallow spool and the deep, and I'm not sure where. I don't even know where any of these are going because I did stick one on my carbon lights that I love, the carbon light rods, but none of these look good on the carbon lights. They go good. They just don't look that great. This one may find a home on the carbon light though. I may switch. I'll keep the handle, but I may put I don't even know what color, but one of these in a certain color, because man, that is my favorite off AliExpress. You can get these for like $9 to $10 a pair. Awesome comfort. I'm hoping they come back out. And if you guys comment somewhere other than AliExpress, you know where you can get those in that gray camo. I'd like to buy several of the gray camo ones because they kind of go with everything, right? But the gray camo's out, but you can get like purple, blue. I want to say at least one, yeah, purple, blue, one kind of camo, maybe two kinds of camo. One more like a greenish, light lime greenish camo, and then a standard like camo. What else? I think that covers it. So we've got the different braking. So the other Lingles that you can find, if you're looking for them, they're more expensive. They're around the $100 range. Some of them are even like $130. Those cronies, in my personal opinion, I don't think, like, if you've spent the time and added an aftermarket handle, or whatever, maybe there would be worth that. Like, you put a separate drag star and all that, and you've got more than $100 invested in it, kind of deal. But I don't know if I would buy another one of these for $100. I got the second one. I want to say it was like $69 or $70. So they're definitely worth that. I guess it's just me knowing that I bought them at one time and now the prices went up. Because like if these four just disappeared tomorrow, would I like, oh my God, I gotta replace those reels? Not necessarily. You guys seen all the other stuff I have. So anyway, but they are good looking working reels, and they're not replacing, if you guys have a Steez, I'm not saying these are anywhere near a Steez, but if you do have a Steez, the new Steez A came out, and the older ones, the A's or the other than the CT, these do palm. Because if you guys remember, I was talking about being up at Rogers Sporting Goods and testing out reels on the carbon light, and I tested out the Steez and the Bantam were the top two. The Bantam definitely palms better overall in my hands, and on that rod, in my opinion, more comfortable than any of those reels. But the Steez was like right there, right? So I got a pretty good feel of what it felt like on that rod. So these Lingles have that same kind of feel. They look big compared to other, I guess, reels in their same like size group, right? So they look, I'll try to hold them side by side. Get out of the way, MK9. So they're about even. They look like way bigger than that one. But when you get them, let me try to hold them up. Let me see if that's even. When you get them evened up on this playing field, they're kind of right there with almost a lot of your reels that set low. And then you've got a good flat spot to put your thumb if you, palm your reel, to where all of this other bigger stuff is up there, And like if you do go back and watch the reel test, if you haven't watched his video, I remember he has his Steez, and he put it, was talking about it, and the fact that he thought these palm better than a Steez because they don't have that where that knob sticks up in order to adjust the drag. These, oh, by the way, I guess I should have showed you guys. These are down here. That is the one thing. It works. It does click. I call it better than like what the Shimano Aldebaran and a lot of the Shimanos have. But it is well, as you can see, I'm kind of struggling to get it. It works, but you have to kind of get in a habit of which way, how to use it. That's the only downside. It does work, it does click, so you can tell when you moved it, and the numbers are fairly easy to see. But it is not the easiest deal to adjust. it's kind of one of those things, if you've got slippery fingers, it's a little harder. You can get in there if you want and use your nail, I think. And I think it's me trying to look through this phone and stuff. It's not as hard as I'm making it out, but it's nothing like what now that a lot of the die was like the zillion is underneath. So anyway, they're still out there. They're more money now, but you could still get a lingle if you want one. Ling Long, Crony. This reel and that green frame are no longer, like the minute I was doing that conversion and telling you guys, if you remember, I was telling you about it, like they disappeared. I sold a lefty. They shipped me one wrong, and like everybody was fighting over it. I don't remember exactly who got it, but they got lucky. They kind of opened up, said they wanted it first, spoke up, and then everybody was like, oh, dude, I wanted that lefty. Well, you know how I am. I'm not a collector, so technically everything I own at some point is for sale. I know, I just got them. Technically, right amount of money pops up, they're for sale. I knew what I was getting back with this one and that one, of course, and then I knew what this one was, but I didn't know what it would look like with that drag star in that configuration. I kind of like that. I can't get myself used to liking these, especially cold weather. Definitely. No aluminum knobs. They do have some very badass looking ones out now. This shape with that, I don't even know what you call it, titanium heated look, where they change colors as it goes. They look very nice on AliExpress. I mean, they're kind of high, but they're not really high for real cool looking knobs. And they have one out there that's like almost half gold, half silver that would really probably look, if you think it's too much gold but you like these knobs, that should fit right on here. And I remember Jay had a problem. Charles, I watched him take one right off today. Charles kept one of the other ones that originally came with that lingle because Charles had already cut it and made it single lifestyle. So, comment what you think about these. Which one do you guys like best other than this gaudy kind of too much over redded out? It's probably gonna, like if I had my choice, it would have the some kind of more likely carbon fiber or maybe a darker aluminum, like a smoke one, not necessarily a shiny chrome since it already has some kind of shiny thing there with, I don't know. I haven't really figured out what kind of knobs this reel would look best with. Probably those, I'll be honest, if I can find those just a gray camo like this, that's what I would put on that one. And then if I had to put something on that one, I would, or if I can't get used to liking the way those are. Or I'd like to find those in a solid black. I think I can actually. I think I've seen where you can get, but I want to say, if you guys probably seen them too, they have the black ones, but they have like 2 or 3 cuts through here. But those actually, that'd probably look good on that reel. I'm gonna have to track those down. Order set. Waste another $10. So be looking forward to it. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but since this is already fading and whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this top plate back off and I'm gonna leave it off and I'm gonna seal. There's like 2 little spots. I don't want anything to get down in there. And I'm just gonna fish it like that for a minute and see what I think of it. See if I think that it would be a better reel if it had, and it is not gonna really change how it's going to change how it looks. It's not really going to change how it palms and what it does. Except it will make your thumb colder in the cold weather because you'll be touching the aluminum frame and not this plastic cover. But stay tuned. And if you guys that are following along for the little shootout I got going, make the reels eye candy and different. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. So away from this, but comment which one you guys think looks the best, the coolest, or more your like style. I'm not talking if you like, I don't like the steezy look imitation, but I'm talking about the, I guess, overall color scheme, like that too much, good, you like the blacked out, whatever. Like this, as soon as I slapped it together, because I'd been thinking about looking for the handle assembly off the, and they sell the carbon kind of solid things, but they're like $20 a piece, I think. But the Concept Boss, I definitely don't want to spend $400 for that reel because I don't like the concepts. I think they've got this edge too sharp. I've commented about it before. I've owned two of the black ones, A, and two of the white ones, the C's, and the red one. I kind of miss the red one. I had that high dollar when I bought it when it came out, KP. That wasn't a good reel. Ain't gonna lie. The downside, one of the reasons, if you guys are, I know, I don't own a 13 fishing, I own one rod, not any reels. There's two things on all of the 13 fishing reels when they first come out that they still hold to today is the side. I think they kind of copied the Shimano 50 size reel, but they made this part too sharp. The way when you reach up and grab it, it's hard to explain. The ones I had, I could always feel that digging in right here on my palm. And then when I took them apart to work on them or anything, just like what Shimano's done that I hate, as soon as you take that handle off, you got that plasticky thing and you got the little pin, and I lost one of those one time. Never happened again because I made sure and watched. But I don't like that right there you have that little thing. It just kind of annoyed me. And then they've never really, in my opinion, they haven't refined that reel. That reel, whoever made it for them, and they just been living off of it. I like the idea of the trick shop. I don't even know, you guys comment, is the trick shop even still around? I looked for it the other day on their website. I was going to see if you could buy the whole Boss assembly, the carbon fiber handle. And that's one thing. If you guys are watching over in China and you're going to try to copy something, here's my opinion. You need to make, not that it's going to durability, but just for a cool factor, I think all of these, except maybe this little of 80 millimeter, because it's not bad. But I think all these carbon fiber handles need to be thicker. Not only for looks, but for that security of you're not going to snap off a carbon fiber. I like everything about this one because it's short and it's 80 millimeters. But once you get into 90 millimeters, every one I look at, and I got one to show you, hang on. Or however big this one is, it may be 95. I don't think it's a, whoa, what's going on with this reel? Oh my God, I got lines somewhere hanging. Like, let me try to get it to focus. But like once you get to the longer ones, in my mind, that looks kind of cheap and cheesy just because it needs to be thicker. Just for everything. And it wouldn't hurt to have kind of like this reel handle. Like if you're making aluminum ones, extra little etching here or there, just gives it quality look, and you know it's going to add in durability if it's a little bit thicker. I know it's going to cost a little more money, but I'm just telling you this right now. Go look at the Concept Boss. Go look at the new Lose, the two reels from Lose, and how thick those are. And I think they're both 90 millimeters, I want to say. They just look tough. You know, carbon fiber, we've had them out so long like this that it's kind of old school. The thicker, tougher looking ones, in my opinion. I know that's what I'm looking for. Like, I think you can look at this. I think, isn't it, even the lingual, isn't it a little thicker? Yeah, see that? I'll even hold it. It's actually further away from the other one. It is definitely just a touch thicker. And it's, how short is it? Yeah, see, it's a lot shorter too. So the minute you go like 80 millimeters, you know, so thick, 85 should get technically a touch thicker. Or, you know, once you go past 85, like say you go to 90 or anything bigger, 90 and bigger should be twice as thick. It just should be. For a lot of different reasons. Anyway, I know, I'm getting nitpicky, but hey, I know this, as picky and as tight as I can be on certain aspects of things, if I'll buy it, everybody will buy it. I'll just tell you guys that right now. If it looks cool enough and reasonably priced enough, I will buy it. I don't care what it is. Dog poop. You sell it to me cheap enough, sounds like a good deal, I'm buying it. This reel, out of all of them, this reel and I've commented about the gear ratios before. Something to do with some of these cheaper reels when they go to that 8-to-1, anything over that 7-to-1, they just feel different. I can feel it, and I don't like the way they feel on just the bench racing them here. The Charles even felt it too. I ain't gonna tell you the reel he got, but he got a high-speed reel from me on the Dark Wolf Ultra variant, and he's like, that feels, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel as good as what we're used to, does it? He goes, it feels a little different. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but every one, I've got the Micro Monster, an 8-1 or whatever, yeah, 8-1-to-1, the Acura 8-1-to-1, this 8-1, they don't feel like your Daiwa and Shimano 8-1-to-1 or 8-5-to-1s. And what's weird is I didn't buy it. I've almost bought a Zillion 10, but I can tell you right now that a Zillion 10 and the 10-to-1 ratio, the one up at Rogers anyway, maybe it's been up there, they just been bench testing the crap out of that thing and it's so free, but that reel feels very easy to turn for a 10-to-1. Usually you get up in those 9s and 10s and they just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. And even like the power thing of it, like you just turn it and it doesn't feel like it's that high speed reel. It's a very good feel, but all the Zillions feel very good. And you get, because a lot of times you'll get to a low, and if you're ever wondering, like you're up, say you go to Bass Pro Shops and you're wondering why does this one feel so good? And if look at it, because a lot of times those, especially like a Crazy Cranker and those little 5-8-to-1s, 5-3-to-1s, feel crazy free because that's the way they're designed to be geared. You've got a very, they're not a high speed, they're low, and they will have a less resistance, like freer feel. That's why, maybe why that Calcutta Conquest feels so much smoother than the Bantam or the Zillion, because it is a speed down. A lot of times those will be, but the difference that the 8-1 for the 7-to-1 on these cheaper ones is like, I don't think it should be that big of a difference. So out of the bunch, just to do with that and overall looks, this is my least favorite of the variants. Like, if they still made this reel, I'd probably buy another one just so I could make basically another thing. I'd make another Joker and another one of these. I don't know if I'd use them or just sell them, but I just do it. So I'm telling you guys gonna, Ray, what'd you say, Eugene? They took away your message. You're not talking about shit monos again, are you, Eugene? Just adds weight. Never had one right. Charles, if you're talking about the carbon fiber handles, you keep out of this, Charles. You let me worry about trying to talk to these guys in China. I'm just telling you, it doesn't add that much weight, Charles. That thing being twice as thick, you'd never feel it. You add aluminum handles, or I mean knobs over here, you feel that, Charles. Like this one, oh my God. These two reels are almost the same. I think this does still have aluminum and it's smaller. It's a 7-to-1, 7.3 with a crazy light. That handle assembly, and you don't really need it thicker. These 80mm ones are actually, they look good. They look sturdy and firm for that, no further out than you're trying to, crank. But when you're talking just this kind of, that feels like a tank. If you guys remember the XF50s, if you're a guy that ever owned one of those and it just had that feel like it was always pulling you down, that's exactly what this feels like. It's not this real, but it is the fact that it does have 8 1-to-1 brass gears and this. Like, I mean, it's insane. The balancing point is like somewhere on that way over here. Like all your weight is right here. This is not a heavy reel. Speaking of heavy reel, let's just weigh them, Charles. Since you started it, Eugene and Charles, you got me fired up now. I was going to try to keep this under an hour. This is ugly, Charles? Charles is dogging crap. He just traded me. Yeah, I know, Charles. His handle assembly, yeah, it's not the... It's too much, Charles. If I was a girl, I'd like that, Charles. Don't worry, Charles. Your arsenal's getting ready to get shown, but not tonight. I still haven't even edited that footage. I've been here cleaning up all these reels you got all dirty. They did clean up real good, though. Did you catch in soon enough to see how crazy smooth this thing is? I sharpied the green. It's still there. Charles liked the green. He's like, I like the green. It had a straight handle. What did I do with that handle? Charles, what did I do with the handle? I don't even know what I did with it. It's somewhere. Somewhere out there. Here it is. So yeah, it had this, which that looks cool, right? Oh man, that looks cool. It looks like they had the expensive ZPI or somebody made one of these. But no, guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. These are like stuck in. It is riveted on, like, or you know, whatever they process they use to. You can't add bearings. You can't change anything from what it is right there. But it's what was on this with that little bit of green, and when it had the green front, like it was a, I don't know, it's a pretty good looking reel. Remind me of a Corrado, but I think it looks better right there. It's like the total opposite of the Joker, right? Is this Batman? I'm Batman. Who are you? I'm Batman. Oh, okay. That's Batman and the Joker. There you go. Well, this has got to be Superman or Iron Man. I don't know. I should be drinking Fireball right now. Probably be feeling better. So let's just show you how crazy the weights can go on different stuff added into reels, right? Lower gear ratio, lightweight handle, 0 grams. Now I don't have my scale. I can't find my scale that it's a big, like the glass top one where the whole top is the where you can set something weigh it super easy. It disappeared. Somebody probably ran off with it weighing up drugs when I lived in Independence. 176.8 grams. How many ounces is that? 176.8. Let's weigh this tank. Oh my God. 195. So I thought it'd be even more than that. But so what is that? 20 grams? That is over ½ ounce. So yeah, that is a lot heavier, just those few parts. And then let's just, so we'll know if I want to reference back on my videos here. What does that thing weigh without weighing it myself? Or 159. So yeah, single lifestyle makes you lighter. 159.3. This dude 160. So the carbon fiber, even though it's got the full-on deal, I guess makes it just a little bit, but so these are still pretty close. Still pretty close. But like, see how thick that is? And really when it was in its full length, it didn't look super thick. But you know, the shorter something is, right? It looks short and stocky, or you lengthen it out and it looks long and lanky, right? That's what I was talking about, Charles, with the carbon fiber. So anyway, speaking of tanks, let's just see what this reel weighs. Now it's got some line on it. While we're on a weighing mode, go get the cat. We're gonna weigh everything tonight. 232.6 grams. 232.6. No, you're not fat. You're just big boned. Well, let's compare that. I know somebody's like, well, I don't even remember. Like, where's that from the Calcutta Conquest? Let's see. Not quite stock, but 206 grams. So she's lighter, and that's a she, is lighter than this thing. And it's like, can you really tell that? Honestly, they both just feel, you know, heavy. It feels solid and heavy. You can tell these are made out of all metal pretty much. You know, some plastic parts, but yeah, these are like tank reels. You want a reel that should last you through your entire life? As far as frames aren't going to wear out, I would say everything's going to wear at some point, mechanical, but those should last pretty much longer than anything else. But we're seeing how long these will last also. Now I know I traded them to Charles, but then got them back. Every one of these was bought by me, brand new at was it beginning of last winter? I think all of these. So they're definitely a year old. Honestly, feel way freer and better than they did, but I know it's because I know Charles didn't service any. I never serviced them. A lot of times I don't even service anything unless any touch of a geary, anything starts sounding different than it did, I know to service it. Or if they just get that too free, then I definitely will. Now, I know I should tear them apart as soon as I'm done for the season, tear them all, re-lube them up, get them back together, right? I know, but I kind of like to do the stress test, and MG Extreme 2 was a good example. I gave $500 for that reel, owned it for 2 years, dunked it in water, whatever, still felt fine. Like, it's a very good quality reel, and I'm pretty sure I sold it to Johnny, my cousin, and I'm 100% sure he's not going to service it or never has, but I don't think he fishes near as much as me, and it'll probably last him fine. My cousin, not Matt. Matt, I don't think he's ever torn apart one of his reels. But my cousin Robbie has a Quantum Tour. I think it's a Quantum Tour edition. I think it's a blue Quantum. Had that kind of titanium thing. Was it a year or so ago? I was fishing with him, and I think he's had that reel like 10 or 15 years. I don't know. They were only a year or so old. And I was like, you ever take that apart and clean it? No. I mean, you could tell it needed it, but he's still using it. It's still working just fine. But we're going to find out. All right, guys, I got to go. Charles, Eugene, I'm still trying to see what. Charles, you're not a girl. Then why do you color code your rod and reel combos? The truth's going to come out tomorrow. Charles says he already misses the Joker. You're not getting it back, buddy. You had your chance. Best thing you could do is try to build your own. Try to track down. These are easy to find, right? You can still get the ling-long, ding-a-dongs, whatever they are. But finding that green, you could have one painted. It was so simple. You gave like 70, I was like 70 or 75 for a lingual. You gave, these were also 65 or 70 or something for the silver. You just tore them apart, slapped them back together. Hardest part was this top plate pops off. And I think it's got a touch of glue also. And that was the hardest thing about the whole change, but it wasn't hard. Everything else was just bolt on. Oh, did I mention they all come with clickers? For those of you just joining in, like, what kind of reels is he holding there? That's not a Steez. It's not a Steez, but is it better? They have the big, if you look in there. They got like a big triangle, more like Shimano, and then it gets real small on the line guide. So far, that's the smoothest, quietest, like most free. This is the noisiest probably. What'd you do to this thing, Charles? But if I remember right, one of these was always noisy, and like I took it apart and greased it, and then it would quieten up, and I probably just, it's that point again. I need to stop spin them and turn them. I need to tear them apart. I don't know when I'm going to do it. Maybe tomorrow, because it's going to be nasty weather tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to get out and do any cast testing. We're still on hold with these two on doing shootouts and all this and that. I was anxious to get out there. Originally this morning I got up with intentions of getting these ready, going down, trading with Charles, and then on the way home I was going to stop somewhere and do a little shootout. Here's what happened. First of all, I got down there, me and Charles jabberjawing around, right? Talking about slobber knockers, jabberjaws, and all that kind of stuff, and fishing rod and reels. So when I went to come home, guess what? It started snowing, and it was snowing pretty good. It wasn't sticking. It was still too warm to really stick or anything, but it was kind of got real nasty there for a while, and tomorrow's going to be in only like the 30s, and it's not going to happen this weekend. If there's a nice, and I get off work early enough, so I need to tomorrow, I need to service everything I have, get those two reels, the line, what I want to do planned out, ready, and then if I have a good night when I get off work, I may be able to get some sort of testing done with them. But that's the plan. Stay tuned. It's all going to happen. Oh, you already used the Micro Monster, Charles? I haven't even told these guys what all I traded. I guess you guys see now, Charles, he has the Micro Monster now. The 8-to-1 one. And he stuck that on, you'll see in the video, this crazy fiberglass rod that he picked up from AliExpress, like for flick casting. You know, it's like one of those real, very soft, like softer than even like his Delicacy, the Cast King Zephyr and all those. So you'd like do the little flick casting. And he put that Micro Monster on it because it's like a purple gold with a wooden reel seat, and then I want to say it has a cork handle, but then it's the white with purple wraps. The blank is white with purple wraps. It looks good, very good looking. The Micro Monster looks good on there. So anyway, look at that goldfish. Dude's got issues. As you guys will see in those videos, Charles probably got the better end of the deal. Maybe not, though. I got a pretty good deal. I got these four, the CU double back, and this, and a little boot for the stuff I traded him. I'm not even going to tell you what all it was yet, but you guys will find out because you don't see me using it. Should I tell him, Charles? Charles don't care. Now, wait for the video and watch all the little... First of all, understand that also Charles, now, the lineup you're going to see, he did have, I think these three were in that lineup, or were these four? But this wasn't in the lineup we looked at, and we looked at a bunch of combos. Charles, you have an addiction. You have a problem. You need to take half your fishing stuff and just let me have it. Stop using it. You've got a problem. You got a condition. You're a fishing hoarder. You hoard your fishing gear. I guess I have a problem too. But then if you watch some of these insane guys, whether it be on Instagram or forums and Facebook groups, they go insane with how many. And the pros, of course, I guess they need to. It's a tool, right? And they have their tools. But I was watching John Cruz video, and he just had got the new Zillions. That dude got, I think he had 10 8-to-1s or 8 5-to-1s and 10 6-to-1s or 7. I don't know. He had basically 20 Zillions along with a whole other Daiwa stuff. But that is a ton of money. Just for this to start a season, he finally upgraded. He'd been like 2 or 3 years or something since he'd upgraded. Newer technology. Just like I mentioned before, it's hard to justify spending $300 to $500 for a reel that in 2 or 3 years, the technology, they're going to have hyperdrive, they're going to have beyond hyperdrive, they're going to have SV boost and whatever, and then oh man, I need a different spool, oh I need this, oh I got to stay with this and that. So it's hard to justify that, but technically you don't even need that. You don't even need what's out now. You can go down to this. You could even go cheaper. You can go get a Black Max, and you're going to see a couple different Black Maxes in Charles's arsenal that are kind of decked out BFS. And a regular Black Max will do majority any kind of bass fishing you'd want to do. You can buy a cheap AliExpress spool for it, and then you can go BFS fishing with that same, what used to be a $40 reel or $50. Now I think the Max X or whatever it's called now is I think they're about $60. Still very good. I actually would probably rather fish with the Black Max or one of those than I would the new Abu Garcias, in my opinion, especially for the price. But I think they palm bigger, but they palm better. They don't stick into your deal, as I've talked about. All right, anyway, anybody else? Anybody want to keep this going? What'd you say sure about? I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Help share the channel. Once February hits, you're going to see a lot of shorts popping up because that's when I can actually... They're monetized now, but you don't really make any money on shorts. You guys see those girls showing their hoochie coochies and all that with 5-10 million views. I don't think they're technically making any money yet, but once that stuff hits, I don't know what they're going to pay compared to a normal video, but I have found that putting shorts out jumps in more subscribers per month, so technically should help the channel grow faster, which is a good thing for all of us, Charles and Jay and everybody else. That means I just got to go buy more reels, right? No. So as I get out of here, let's just keep this one thing. Could these reels right here be a gateway reel to me becoming a Steez member? But then you may ask, well, why do you even need a Steez if you have those and they work, right? They get the job done. Because I'm nuts, that's why. Look at that. These got these spool high-speed bearings in them. Oh boy, yee doggy, look at that! Look at that. Boy, she just spins for days. Which, if you guys don't know, most bearings, like you spray them out, brake clean, they'll be noisy, and then you spin like a ceramic bearing, but that's why they do last and they're noisy. But even a regular bearing with no oil in it, them suckers will spin for a while, then they start to go out. But these are good bearings that came with it. I think almost every Dark Wolf Ultra I've had seemed to have better bearings in here than the black. The one Black Knight 2 didn't have any. It had bushings. They screwed us over on that. But we don't care, right? I'm out. Stay tuned. More videos coming. More everything coming. Charles, we must have a long lag because when it pops up on my end, it's a question I asked you like 10 minutes ago. But Charles, I don't even remember what all I traded you. You have the Micro Monster. Charles does have the two rods. I got rid of the. Oh shoot! I can't even think of the name of those rods now, Charles. Street bass. Two street bass rods. Micro Monster. Two Dark Wolf Ultras. The Geico Pigeon. Salamandura. What else? Is that it? That's all I remember off the top of my head. That may have been what I traded, because technically this reel here is now out of date compared to the Geico Pigeon. The Geico Pigeon, I believe, is the newest bait finesse thing that Daiwa has out, and technically this is not the newest BFS, that because Aldebaran 22 has come out since this reel, and this is 2017, right? Who was the president? Was Trump? Who was the president in 2017? I don't remember. Or was it Obama still? I don't even remember who it was. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Get out and stay warm, or just stay in. And if you can control your alcohol, get you some Fireball and just sip it. Or put it in your Pepsi or Coke or Diet Coke or Coke Zero. Put like a shot in a glass and then just sip it while you're at home watching the football game. I'm watching football game right now. Did you guys watch the Chiefs game? Chiefs, Mahomes is probably going to be all right, but I thought for sure he hurt his ankle again. I'm like, oh, here we go again. New York is getting stomped by the Eagles. Philadelphia. New York Giants. Anyway, I'm not a huge football fan. I'm more of a, you could call me I used to be a big football fan, but you call me more of a Chiefs fan than an actual football fan. Remember, I got the Chiefs hat. And then remember, I put the Bass and Bonsai on the back. Because that's what you see probably more of anything, unless you're looking at my hands. Still representing, that's the only Chiefs paraphernalia I own, right? That's right. All right, I'm done. I was waiting to see if what Raymond said popped up again, but I don't know. Raymond jumped out. He put something on there at 9:25 and then left. He's like, I'm out of here.